Gal, and I'm here today to do a tutorial for Country Craft Creations as part of their design team. I've got for this month, the design team package was Hello Autumn by Carta Bella, and I got some really beautiful papers that are really awesome fall themed. And what I am making for you today is this fall holiday planner. It is based on a Halloween junk journal that I did. I didn't do a tutorial really on that, I just kind of did a share, but I decided to use the same concept but make a planner out of it. Now this is what I did in a tutorial earlier today, and I filmed the entire tutorial and then realized that my camera, or the video, excuse me, turned off, and I got like the first couple minutes and nothing after that. So we're going to redo this tutorial. I'm going to use different papers, but I wanted to show you what I actually did make during the tutorial. And then I will obviously do a walkthrough finished product. But anyways, I used seam binding to close it, and then when you open it up, it is going to have a nice waterfall feature that we did something a little bit different, but we do have the waterfall here. And then magnet closure, and then it has a pocket at the top to put booklets for 3x4 cut-aparts. So there's one on the front inside cover and then one also on the back. Now you can see I did the tutorial. I haven't even finished this part yet. So I gotta finish this and do the walkthrough, but I really want to get the tutorial filmed today. So we're gonna do it again. But anyways, there's 3 sections, or 3 signatures in this book. It's all done kind of traveler's notebook style, so these are actually not really bound to the book. They are removable, and I did that on purpose, and let me show you why. So the first one here is a folder with you know, pockets to put things, but on the first one here we have a calendar. And what I was thinking is that during October and November we have lots of things that we like to do, maybe Halloween parties, harvest parties, Thanksgiving, obviously. And if you're like me, I like to plan stuff out, plan my menus and all that stuff. So plan my parties. So I created this PDF of a couple month calendar that you can use. You can insert this, and then it can be removed because it's just done like a traveler's notebook. So you can take it out. You can take it out to work on it. You can take it out to reprint it and do another year with it. So this is kind of a continual planner kind of thing that you can do. So that's the first section. The second section is going to be a photo section, and I didn't get this finished, and I'll explain this when I do the tutorial again. But it does have photo pages, it has pocket pages, it will have a flap page, and so on. So, and there's a different pocket page right here. So this is actually a scrapbook. So it's part planner, part scrapbook, part recipe planner, because here's another folder just like the first page, but then I created a booklet of recipe pages that you could put it in here. So again, this is removable. You can put as many of these as you want in here. You can add things to it, but it's really kind of an all-purpose thing. You have a planner, you have recipes, and then you have a photo album that you could maybe add a photo every year, or do a recipe style album where you put pictures of the food or your family eating the food with the recipes for that particular dish in the back. So there's a lot of opportunities here. Another waterfall in the back. So anyways, this is the tutorial we're going to do today, and the design team package was Carta Bella's Hello Autumn. So since I lost everything that I did on this, and I don't have, because I need to make, you know, some more projects, and I didn't want to use more of this paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to use papers that I actually bought from Country Craft Creations, and it's the paper collection by Echo Park called Here Comes Santa Claus, and this is the collection that they had offered in a like a warehouse box from Echo Park, and I was able to get it. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a Christmas planner, same tutorial as the fall planner, but I'll show you how you can use it for other months too. So I went ahead and created another calendar and added December to it, so that will be available as well. I'm going to make this a PDF and I'll put it on Google Docs, and then you guys can go download it. I'll have the link down below. But let's get started with this tutorial. And again, this one's going to be Christmas themed, but this is for my Hello Autumn Design Team tutorial, my fall holiday planner. Okay, so let's get started. So we're going to need a few things first. We're going to need to cover our chipboard. We have 2 pieces of chipboard that are 6.5 by 9 and 1 piece that's 2 by 9. That will be the spine. And then the chipboard here will, I used score tape on it so that I could attach it to my cardstock. I'm using artisan cardstock. In this particular one, I'm using the green and the burgundy for the inside pages. In my other folio that I showed you, I used brown, and then I'm also using ivory for photo map pages. So the chipboard needs to be covered with cardstock, and we're going to need 2 pieces that are 8.5 by 11. We're going to need 1 piece that's 5 by 11 and 1 piece that's 5 by 8 7/8, and that will be to cover the inside spine. Okay, so let's get started. We'll do that. This is the lay flat binding that I know y'all have seen, and I really like it. It's really a nice binding, and a lot of people have been finding it a lot easier to do. So I've been trying to do it a lot. So I'm basically kind of practicing with it, I guess, because I haven't used it very much, but I'm using it. So we'll get our 5 by 11 inch piece here, and that's to cover our spine. Now on this one, we're going to want 1.5 inches on each side, and we're going to want 1 inch at the top. So I'm going to get my handy dandy spacers here. Now these are made out of chipboard. I am going to be getting the ones, the more permanent, like plexiglass ones that Tamara's selling. I'm going to get those soon. I just haven't done it yet. I haven't gotten them yet. So I'm going to put the 1.5 inches on the side, 1 inch at the top, and then I'm just going to lay my spine piece here and stick it down. And then that will be pretty much perfectly centered in the middle of your chipboard, okay? Or your cardstock, I should say. So then let's get our next piece. So we're going to want to cover our covers that are 6.5 by 9, and our cardstock is 8.5 by 11, so 2 inches bigger on each side, because we're going to have a 1 inch space around all 4 sides. Okay, so now I'm going to use my other inch piece and put that up there, and then just slide this guy in there like that. We'll do that again. And I can't believe I did that tutorial and I totally lost it. Oh, I am so upset. I have so much to do. Our kids are coming for a visit, and I've got stuff I wanted to get done, and I really wanted to get this tutorial out this week. And today is my day to film. And I can't believe that it didn't get it all. I hope that this time it works. So we'll see what happens. If it doesn't, I'm going to cry. There you go. So let's put this here, stick that down, and then we're good to go. Okay, so we can get rid of our spacer pieces here, and we'll get rid of this for a second, and then we are going to cover this. So I have a bone folder here that I like to use this with, and I'm going to feel the outsides of the chipboard, and I'm just going to run down the sides. Okay, and just kind of start helping train the paper for where I want it to go. We'll do that for this one as well. Okay, do all of them. All 4 sides. All right, and then grab your spine and do it for your spine, okay? Okay, So we're going to work on the spine first, and then that way the glue can dry. So after I do this, then I usually will fold the paper, just kind of give it a little bit more of a nudge to where I want it to go. And then I'm going to fold the ends over and fold them down. And then what I've been doing with this lay flat binding is I've been putting my bone folder against the edge. I'm kind of teasing the cardstock against the chipboard and then holding it with my finger, then pushing it. And it's hard to see. Let me see if I can show you, but it actually will kind of, it's hard to see. But you can, it doesn't lay flat. It will bend in a little bit, and that's what I want because I want that edge of the cardstock to go against the edge of the chipboard. I hope that makes sense. But I'm going to do that to both sides. So I'm going to just kind of tease that down there like that. And then I'm going to hold it with my finger so it just doesn't move, and then I'm going to pull it and burnish it. So I'm going to do that for both ends. Okay, so doesn't matter which side you start with. Just get it in there, and then that will help seal it, you know, against the chipboard. Okay, and then what I've been doing with it is go ahead and grab your glue, a little bit of glue around the edges here, and then put glue on all of these pieces at the end. Fold it back over and then do the same thing. Kind of tease it in against the edge of the chipboard, hold your fingers, and then push it down. There you go. Okay, same. Okay. All right, and now for the second side. So a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. So I did this project with, I did a Halloween journal, and I used the same style cover and binding with that. That's how I got the idea to do it for this. So I thought, well, this is going to be a great tutorial. This is a really cool project because, you know, it's reusable, number one, because the pages, because of the way that they're bound in there, they're secure and they will stay, but you can take them out, you can remove them, you can add, you can, when you're done with this year's calendar, you know, in planning pages, if you don't want to save them, you can just open up the thing, toss it, and print more. So, and I left it undated for that purpose, so if you have that file, then you can print it at any time. Okay, so then you just fold that over. We're just going to give it a wee bit of a burnish here, like that, and then I'm going to kind of run my bone folder down the side. Now this part is not glued yet, but I'm just trying to give it some memory with the scoring for when we go to attach it to our cover, okay? So burnish it well, and then just run your bone folder down the edges, and that kind of squares things up, okay? And then you can do that top and bottom. Helps the glue stick, it helps give a nice edge. All right, so we're gonna set this aside for just a little bit, let the glue dry. So we're gonna grab our covers, and we're gonna just wrap all 4 sides, okay? We are gonna grab our score tape and put score tape on. Just like that. And all 4 sides, this will help everything stick down, give a nice edge. And we're gonna, of course, cover with pattern paper after we get this wrapped. So, like that. All right. So then what we're going to do is we're going to cut the corners off at about a 45-degree angle. It doesn't have to be super accurate. And you're going to want to leave about 1/8 of an inch of cardstock space between the cut edge and your chipboard. Okay, we're going to nudge that in there with our fingernail or our bone folder, and we're going to wrap the corners of our chipboard with that. So I'm going to take the tape off, and then in my brain, whenever I'm wrapping an album cover, I usually always think to myself top, bottom, side, side. So that's the order in which I wrap it, just to make it all even. So I'm going to take my art glitter glue, which I got from Country Craft Creations, and I'm going to fold it. And I just put a little dab of glue at the edge just to help the cardstock stick to the edge. Okay, so top, bottom. And I'm just going to stand it on its edge for a second, let that glue kind of take, and then fold it over and stick that down. Okay, now here's where we're going to do the nudge. So I usually use my fingernail. My fingernails are my tools. And I'm going to just push that paper in, and what it does is it kind of wraps around the corner a little bit. Just push that edge in, and then grab your glue. And this is how I learned to wrap chipboard. I can't even tell you, like a bazillion years ago. And it's just pretty easy for me because I've done it so much. So, but it works pretty good, and it covers the chipboard corners really well. So nudge. I don't know, is that a word? Nudging something? I think so. Probably not a proper word, but it's a word, right? Okay, here we go. So, and then lay that down, burnish it, and then I like to go around the edges, just kind of flatten that around the four sides, and then like kind of press the glue onto the chipboard and the cardstock. So that one's wrapped. We're going to do the next one the same exact way, and when I get done with it, I will be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I have the second piece of chipboard covered for our cover. So now what we're going to do is we're going to grab our scoreboard. We're going to use it. I'm going to turn it sideways. All right, so we have our spine, two covers. We're going to need a pair of scissors, and we're going to just miter these corners just a little bit. Don't go too close to the chipboard because you don't want to expose your chipboard, so just go up next to it just a little bit, not too close, and take off a wee sliver so you can see, not too much, but we're going to join this to our covers in just a second, but we have to miter the corners first. Okay, so now that I've flung little bits of paper all over everything. All right, so we have our two pieces. Now really quick, I'm going to go ahead and go down the sides and make sure that that's pushed down on the outside, because we're going to just butt our covers right up against it. So I'll do that. So then we're going to go ahead and put some score tape on, and we're not going to go too close to the edge, maybe 1/8 of an inch or so away from the edge, because you don't want it too close. You don't want glue too close. You don't want score tape too close, because the score tape will show, and then if you put glue too close, then it'll glue where you don't want it, and then your book won't open properly. So you want it just a little bit away from the edge. We are going to use a little bit of glue and kind of reinforce in between the score tape lines. Don't know if it's necessary or not, but that's what I've been doing because that's how Tamara taught to do it. So, and it works really well. So I've been doing that. And then just lay your cover down, okay, and press it down, and then you can turn it over and burnish it down like so, and then you've got a nice spine. Okay, then we're going to do it on the other side, so I'm just going to turn that guy over, and we're going to do the same thing. Make sure, no, I want this. All right, so put our tape down. I just can't believe I messed up that whole tutorial. It's just crazy. Because now I really know how to make this book after making 3 of them, because I did a prototype and I did the real deal one, and now I'm doing this one so that I can show you guys how to do it. So there you go. All right. So, little bit of glue. And press that right down next to it. Done deal. All right, now this is the lay flat binding method, and this works really, really well. It makes for a nice book that actually it closes really well. So a lot of times you don't even have to use ribbon and stuff because you don't have that memory with the older way of doing it. But then it also lays nice and flat when you want it opened up. Okay, so then what we need to do is cover the spine. So we have the spine piece here. Then this piece measures 5 by 8 7/8, and I use score tape on that as well. So we'll just take the score tape off, and what I'm going to do is just put it right over the spine piece, and it will cover all that cardstock as well. And just line that up and layer down, and we are good to go. Okay. And just stick it down. Okay. So that part is done. All right, so let's go to the outside. So now we're going to do the binding holes that we're going to use for the project. Let me show you what those would look like. So we're going to set eyelets in 3 different places because there's 3 signatures that we're going to put in here. So we need to cover with pattern paper. Now, if you don't have to cover with pattern paper if you don't want to, but I'm going to. And then we're going to string our strings through when we go ahead and make our pamphlets. So in order to do that, the first thing we need to do is cover our spine. So I chose this coordinating cardstock from the collection that I got in the Here Comes Santa Claus box. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue that down. That does have to go on first before we punch any holes. I am not going to pattern paper on the inside spine. I'm going to leave that just with the cardstock, but it will look good because the pattern or the paper that I'm going to use on this book is going to be the red, the burgundy kind of color, and it's going to you know, be kind of a nice contrast to this. So grab your ruler, grab a pencil. You're going to line this up at, and excuse my hair, you're going to line this up at 1/4 inch with the 0 in the middle, and then you're going to mark at 1/2 inch, at 0 and 1/2 inch on each side. Just put 3 dots. Okay, both sides. Okay, so 0 and then 1/2 inch on each side. Just put a dot. All right, then what we're going to do is grab our crocodile and set it for 1/4 inch in. Make sure that stays really well, doesn't move around, and then just put it in here and make sure your dots are visible. Okay, so now you need eyelets, and all we're going to do is just set those in here from the outside in. All right, like so, and then grab your crocodile and set them. They will go all the way through, and they will look like that on the inside. Okay, so again, set your eyelets in there. Okay. There we go. All right, so our eyelets are set. So that's that part. So that part of the binding is done. Now the next thing we need to do is we're going to set some ribbon. Now in my tutorial, whoops, everything's falling down on me. In my tutorial that got messed up, I used seam binding, and I used a piece of each of the colors because I love the big fluffy bows that it creates on this one. So I'm going to use this really nice ribbon here that I had my stash that I thought looked pretty good. So grab my centering ruler again, and I want to make sure that I'm right in the middle here. And I'm just going to throw some score tape down to help secure the tape or the ribbon. And dooby-dooby-doo. Make sure it's in the middle. All right, and just set that down. Okay, do that for both sides. It's going to be a nice bow, that's for sure, because it's going to be big, you know, because it's so wide, so that's kind of cool. All right, make sure it's centered, and right about there. All right. Oh, you know what I didn't do? We covered this with our pattern paper. I'm having a day. Okay, we covered it with a cardstock right here, and we need to bend it. I was wondering why it was so stiff. So I'm just going to tease it up just a little bit so I can find the crease. And I'm going to help it along a little bit and do that same way for the other side. Okay, and then you can go ahead and kind of fold it in, and that will help your book. Ah, that's much more better. Okay. All right. There. Now we can actually open and close our book. Very nice. Okay. So turning it back over, then we're going to grab our pattern paper. And what I'm doing with my pattern paper is that I'm using one 12 by 12 sheet with cut at 6 inches wide. And you can see with this cover, there is a little bit of a gap. But what I did was I'm using this paper here, and I'm going to put some strips on either side, and that's going to give the illusion of a wraparound spine. Okay, so we just grab our paper here, and we're going to glue it down over top of our ribbon. Okay, so this will go over here, get down, like so. Okay. Okay, and then we'll take one of these strips, and I used one of my favorite punches on the edge. So you can see it's kind of a cute little ruffle. And I'm going to lay this down. Put some glue on there. And then that'll be a cute little element too. And then that way you don't have to go into two different pieces of paper, you know, to get the cover covered. You can use one sheet. And like in this kit, there's only one of every kind. So, you know, this really helps kind of stretch your paper so that you can have the covers look, you know, the same. So that's, you know, one way of doing it. If you have two of the same sheet, then you could totally just cut it, you know, at 6 3/8 by 9, or excuse me, by 8 7/8, and then just be done with that. But I only had one in this particular collection, so we're going to do this. And then I did it on the other one too, just because I wanted to. I wanted to try and save some paper because I do have other projects that I've got that I want to make. So I'm trying to conserve my paper too. All right. add the glue, and then this guy down. There you go. This gold paper was part of the collection that is, you know, like the solid cardstock for it. Okay, so we have our front cover done. That's going to be cute. I like how it ties into the gold and the snowflakes too, so that's really pretty. I think that's pretty. Okay, so on the inside, we're going to cover this, but we're also going to add some waterfalls to it. So we're going to need a few things here. We're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock that are 6 1/8 by 9 3/4, 2 pieces that are 6 1/8 by 8 3/4, and then we're going to need 2 little pieces that are 2 by 4 1/8. Okay, so those are the closure that we're going to do with the waterfalls. So I've already gone and prepared them a little bit. So I did score. So I put it in the scoreboard and I scored them at 3 1/2 and 3 5/8, and that's going to give us a little 1/8 inch gusset. Okay, so you can go ahead and fold and burnish those. Okay, so both of those, and then we have our pages, and this is the waterfall, kind of stacked waterfall that I've been doing lately, and I kind of came up with another idea of something to do with it. So you're going to have your 2 pieces. So this one here, the shorter piece, is 8 3/4 by 6 1/8, and you're going to put it in your scoreboard, and you're going to score it at 4 1/8, and then turn it and score at 4 1/8. And you're going to do that actually with all 4 pieces, the bigger pieces and the smaller pieces. All put them in long side at the top, and then score them at 4 1/8, the turn, score at 4 1/8. Okay? When you get done with that, then we're going to turn our board so we can use the flat part here. And we're going to put a big piece down, and we're going to grab a little piece, and we're going to glue this 1/2 inch spine on a little piece to the middle of the 1 1/2 inch spine on the big piece. So the easiest way to do this is just lay this flat, square it up with your scoreboard, and then line the top edge of your smaller piece at 1/2 inch and lay it down. Okay, and then once you do that, go ahead and, you know, fold and burnish those really well, and make sure you don't have any glue sticking out, oozing, because that's going to cause it to stick together, and you don't want that. Okay, so you should have a piece that ends up looking like this. So we're going to have 2 of those. Let's do that again. So bigger piece down, smaller piece, we're going to put glue on the 1/2 inch spine right here. And then we're going to line the top edge of the smaller piece at the 1/2 inch line and lay that down, and then that should center that perfectly right in the middle. Okay, so this will give you 8 pages for pictures, recipes, whatever you want. Okay, so then the next thing we're going to do is we need to add the closures to our book before we put on our pattern paper. So we're going to grab our closures here. We're going to make sure that it's folded so that the 1/8 inch gusset is up and the 1/2 inch tab here. I went ahead and mitered the corners on these, and I rounded the tops. And then we're going to take our centering ruler. We're going to center this on the front cover, the bottom, and we're going to lay it down right at the bottom edge. All right, so it's right at the bottom edge of the book. Okay, and we're going to do that again on the other side. Each side will have a waterfall. They will hold 4 by 6 pictures or 4 by 6 recipe cards. So, you know, however you want to design this book. I mean, I designed it to be kind of part planner, part recipe book, part, you know, photo album. So I think it has a lot of potential for stuff. I think it turned out really cute. And then I'm going to grab my inside papers, And I cut these at 6 3/8 by 8 7/8, and we're going to just cover the inside of our covers. And then we are done with that part. We'll add the waterfalls on top of this, and I'll show you how easy it is to create a little pocket. All right. Okay, down. There we go. Whoop, excuse me. There we go. There's that. And then we will take our waterfall. We're going to center that right there at the bottom, okay? And we're going to glue it down. Now, when we glue it down, the back here, this 1.5 inch spine piece, we're just going to glue it on 3 sides. And that's what's going to create the pocket. So easy peasy. There we go. So put the glue there. We're going to line it up. About 1/8 inch on all the sides. And I'm just eyeballing it, and then I'm just going to stick her down. And then I'm going to make sure, I'm going to pull this up real careful, make sure there's no glue sticking out the bottom, because that'll glue this to that, and you don't want that. All right, just like that. Let it sit for a minute, then we're going to put a set of magnets on there for the closure, and we're going to be good. So let me get those magnets on. Okay, put that right in the middle right there. And making sure that you leave your gusset flat. You don't want to pull it up. You want that 1/2 inch there, okay? And then stick it down. And we're done with that piece. So there you have it. Pretty easy. When that glue dries, which it will in just a second, you can add your booklets in there. There we go. All right, grab our other waterfall. Here's the 1.5 inch piece. Put our glue just right on the edges. Be careful not to go on the score line. And then we'll center that bad boy down. There we go. Okay. We'll raise that up carefully. Make sure I don't have any glue sticking down. There we go. All right. So there you go. So then what we'll do is we're going to take our, we're going to add our other magnet for the closure. And then we're going to, I'll show you about the booklets. And then this part is done. Okay, making sure we keep our gusset. Don't pull it up. Okay, so there we have it. So there's our cover is done, just like that. Okay, so then the booklets, I went ahead and prepared a couple, but they are basically 4 pieces that are 3 1/4 by 8 1/2. Put them in the scoreboard with the 8 1/2 at the top, and then score it down the middle at 4 1/4. Okay, when you do that, then you fold them, and then you have a booklet that can either be landscape or portrait, doesn't matter. But that, excuse me, that's where these will go. So you have a nice little pocket. Now I intended these to be for the cut-aparts, and then the inside be blank so you could put pictures or do journaling or whatever. So I'm going to put cut-aparts on top of those when I get to the decoration phase. So I will do that later. Okay, so we'll put this aside, and then we're going to work on our pages. So we're going to have some pocket pages. Now, in the tutorial that went away, so each of the calendar and the recipe book in the front and the back each have a folder, and then you have your booklet. Okay, so we're going to real quick make 2 folders. You'll need 2 of those, and to do that we are going to need 2 12 by 12 pieces of paper. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to take your scoreboard on both of them. I went ahead and made one already, so we're going to do this one. So put it in your scoreboard and score down the middle at 6, and then turn it once, and then score it at 8.5. Okay, and that's all the scoring you're going to have to do for your notebook or for your folder. So then go ahead and we'll fold and burnish and get that done. Okay, there we go. Okay, so then open it up to the inside and then grab your ruler and your pencil. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut out a little triangle here to help this close nicely. So we're going to put the 0 at the score, and we're going to mark at a 1/2 inch on each side. And then I'm going to take my pencil, and on the side of the score, I'm not going to go like to the point. I'm going to go like right where the scores meet, like right underneath that. And I'm going to draw a line and match to the 1/2 inch. Okay, so just right there at the corner where those scores meet, and draw a line. And then grab your scissors and just cut that triangle out. And that is going to, and it's not going to come completely out. It's still going to be attached to the score, so don't expect it to pop out. It's not going to. Okay, so it's kind of attached where those scores meet. So then just fold it, and then take your scissors, and you can snip it off. Oops, let's do it from this side. Yeah, and just snip it flush with the folds. Okay, so you're going to cut that little piece off. All right, and then you have your pocket. You're gonna need to create some pocket sides because this is 12 inches and it doesn't have enough to make flaps. So we're gonna make flaps, and you're gonna need 4 of these. These are 1 by 3.5, and on the 1 inch side, you're gonna score it down the middle at 1/2 and then fold it. And then you're gonna miter your corners like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it from the fold out to the open end and just take off a bit. Okay, just miter the corners. Start at the fold. If you go the other way, you're gonna miter in the wrong direction. And don't ask me how I know that. All right, so we have 2 of these, and we're just gonna take and glue them to our side pockets. We're not gonna glue the inside pieces. Those are gonna be left open. So we're just gonna put a little glue here, and then glue it down right to the edge, like so. Okay, then we're going to put glue on the other side of that tab here, and then glue it right to the folder, and then we're done. Pretty easy, pretty simple. I designed it this way so that it was 6 inches wide, so that you wouldn't have any difficulty if you had a printed out recipe on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that you could, you could fold it and put it in here, and you wouldn't have any problem doing that. If I made these pockets any smaller or glued the edges, you might have a little bit of an issue doing that and saving, those things. So that's why I did it this way. Just thought, I'd let you know. All right, so then glue on the other side. Okay, and then glue that down. Okay, so we have our pocket. So then we're going to need to cover the pockets with pattern paper. So I already took care of this one, and I'll show you how to do those. I left these without any pattern paper, but I am going to cover the outsides with it. So we're going to need 2 pieces of paper, and these pieces of paper measure, let's just do that, 3 3/8 by 5 7/8. And then what I did was I took my ruler and made a mark at the 1/2 inch, and then I drew a line from that 1/2 inch to the corner here, okay, because it's going to go on this side, and this one from a 1/2 inch in to the corner, and then we're just going to simply cut those off like so. I'm going to do it from this side so I could see it. Okay, and then that will lay on your pocket just perfect. Okay, so then all we got to do is glue them down. So I just wanted to show you how to cover that pocket. Now you could totally put pattern paper on the inside of these pockets if you want to. I am choosing not to, but you totally could, absolutely could. All right, so lay that down. Okay, now these folders are going to be housing your calendar and your recipe booklet. So both of those things I created on my own, and I'm making the files and putting them in Google Docs so that you can get them, and I will put a link to that in the description of the video so you can print them out. I did not date the calendars because if you want to do this again next year, then you can. So all you have to do is put your own dates in. Now, I'm going to have 2 of these calendars, so be careful what you get. If you're doing it for Christmas, this one starts at November and has December in it. So the ones that I did for the fall have October and November in it, okay? You can print them all out and put them all together if you want to, but I have 2 separate files, so one will be October, November, and one will be November, December, okay? So you just print these out and put them in order, and then there's a couple things you can do. Now, you do not have to actually staple this together if you don't want to. I did, and my previous video on my YouTube channel, I had some journal bindings, and I talk about how to do that. And so I'm not going to go over it today in this video. If you want to look at that, you can. You can see that this one here is stapled down the middle, but you really don't need to do that. All you have to do is fold these things, and you're good to go. So I think for this one, I'm just going to fold them, and I'm going to insert them just like, you know, they were in a traveler's notebook. So you just fold them, burnish them. You can fold them individually if you want, but if you don't have too many pieces of paper, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so then these would go in your notebook, and then these get tied in. And when you open it up, you will start with a November calendar, and then you go to note pages. All right, and then you have a December calendar, and then you have more note pages. So you can plan menus, you can plan, you know, like your guest list, whatever it is that you need. And then you have 2 pockets in the front and the back to help with notes, putting things in, you know, catering company cards, whatever you have, okay? So then we're going to tie that into our notebook, okay? So we have our calendar here, and then we have our recipe pages. Again, same thing. You can print as many of these as you want, and they're all the same front and back, just recipe pages. And I went ahead and I'll have that PDF for you as well. I think I'll do a couple of these at a time. This one's a little thicker than the other one. So yeah, you can add as many pages as you want. I left the fronts of these booklets blank so that you could decorate them if you wanted to. With leftovers, you know, stickers from the collections that you're going to use. You totally could decorate these and make them really cute. Or you can, you know, choose to leave them blank and maybe do journaling on them, however you want to do it. I did use 32-pound paper, and it's really nice, really thick, and it feels good, it writes well, so that's what I did. Okay, so now let me find my twine. I don't know if I'm going to keep this or not, but that's the beauty of this binding, because you can do whatever you want. That is for sure. So I'm going to do about a yard just to make sure that I have enough, you know, string to make a pretty bow. So I'm going to need 3 of these, but for sure total, but I need 2 right now. So we'll put this away, and I'm just using some baker's twine. You can use regular twine, baker's twine, thin ribbon, whatever you want. Okay, so this is the calendar. So let's grab the calendar. That's going to be the first one. And we're going to put this in, and we're going to just simply thread our thread through here at the top and the bottom, and then catch this in the middle. Okay. Beauty of this is that you can subtract, add, you can add more pages, you could add, you know, like little snippets of, you know, photo album if you want, whatever you want to do. Okay, so I'm just going to take this, and I think I got a little bit more than a yard. And then I'm going to tie it in a bow, and I'm going to just kind of randomly place it because I think it's kind of pretty with the bows. Let's see if I can get a good grip on it. And then I don't know if you have a hemostat or not, but sometimes this helps to hold your knot so that you can actually tie it and kind of keep it somewhat tight. Okay. And then the other thing I like to do when I do stuff like this, if I think I'm going to make it permanent, which, you know, you can change string out anytime you want, but if you think you're going to make it permanent and you want to make sure that it doesn't come untied, you can either tie a double knot, or you can use some fray check on the knot, and then, you know, it won't come undone. Okay, so then you just center your pieces in the midsection there, and you have your booklet. Okay, and then what I was saying about adding things is that you can add anywhere. You can add in the middle, you can add in here, because it's not bound, you know, in the middle. So you can do that. If you staple this, you cannot do that. You can only add either in the middle section or around the outside section. But this is one way to do it. So that's that. So let's grab our other notebook, which is the recipe notebook. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing. I need to sharpen those scissors big time. Okay, so let's open our book and pull it to the center of the book, and there you go. So now you have your recipe booklet as well. Okay, so there's that. So here, our planner is done, our recipe section is done. Let's work on our pages. So our pages, our photo pages are really easy and fun, and I am going to be doing some fun stuff with them. And you know what? Let me show you. Well, let's see. Can I do that? No, not really. Okay, never mind. Scratch that, reverse it. So you just take a piece of paper that's 8.5 by 12. Put it in 12 side up, score it at 6. Okay, that is super simple. Okay, fold and burnish, and these are going to stack in themselves. Okay, so you'll end up with 6 pages. You probably could do maybe 4 pages, but once you get the pattern paper on and the things that we're going to do with pockets and stuff like that, it gets a little thick. So I wouldn't go any more than 4 if you wanted to add more pages. If you wanted to, you could make the spine bigger and then add another signature. I'm going to go with the 3. So the first thing we're going to do is, and I'll show, let's see, the first page, my intent is that this is the cover page, so I am going to put a photo mat here. Photo mat guides are in the description. Cover it with pattern paper. On the inside, I'm going to have 2 more photo mats, and then I'm going to use strips of scraps and border the frames. So that's going to be the first inside page. Then when you turn it here, we're going to have a pocket page. So you could tuck extra photos in there. You could tuck a note for journaling in there. We're going to do 2 different kinds of pocket pages. The first one will be a vertical pocket, so it'll be like this. The second one on the other pages will be a horizontal pocket. So you're going to need 2 pieces for the vertical pocket that are 2 3/4 by 9 1/2, and you're going to score at each end at 1/2. Okay, pretty super simple. I already did that one and mitered the corners. And if you haven't seen my little trick yet with the mitering, I have this tab punch that miters exactly, it's a 1/2 inch. So if you really just don't want to pick up your scissors and you want to just punch something, there you go. So you're done with that. Okay, we'll set these off to the side because those are coming up next. Okay, so keeping your booklet together, just fold and burnish. Okay, these are going to go, like I said, on the side. If you didn't want a pocket and you want to do a belly band, you could totally do that too. You just have to glue top and bottom. I'm going to do pockets, so I'm going to glue top and bottom, and then I'm going to glue the side. Okay, so I'm going to get this page kind of scooched over so I can see it, and I'm going to put glue on this piece right here. And I'm going to glue that guy down like that. I'm going to open it up, make sure it's stuck down. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this tab here and a line of glue down the side, and that's what's going to close that pocket. All right. Lay that down, glue it down. Pretty simple pocket. You could add pictures to this album over the years, like I said, with you know, different celebrations. Like if you're using this as a Christmas planner, like for my family, we do Christmas brunch. So I have a lot of breakfast recipes that we use for that. So you could take pictures of the food, you could take pictures of your family eating the food, you could add, you know, a picture a year. I mean, this could turn into like a really cool family heirloom kind of thing, is what I'm envisioning. You know, you could pass it down with, you know, just make it into like a planner kind of thing, you know, with just recipes in it, however you wanted to do this. I also think this might be really cute for like a birthday planner if you used birthday papers. I know Tamara had some that we used from Authentique last year. They turned out really super cute. So yeah, it could be fun. This could be a really cool idea. Okay, so vertical pages. So then when we open up our book, now we should be in the center, so we're in the middle here, and we're going to make flat pages out of this. So you are going to need some magnets, you're going to need some pages. So we're going to need 2 pieces that are 5 by 6.5 and 2 pieces that are 4 by 4.5. Okay, they will need to be scored. So we're going to take each piece, and actually let's just do it the easy way. In each piece, 4 inch at the top, score at 1/2 inch. Okay, so do it for both of those pieces. All right, 4 at the top, score it 1/2 inch. And then the 5 by 6.5 page, we'll put it in with the 5 at the top, and then we'll score it at 1/2 inch, both pieces, okay? And then miter your corners, like we always do. And I didn't do this one. I'm digging the fact that I just noticed that my tab punch does that. It's super simple. I don't know. I just like it. I just like it a lot. All right. So what we're going to do with this is each page will have a small flap and a large flap, and then we will have a magnet closure. The small flaps I intended to use 3 by 4 cut apart cards. And the bigger flaps are going to be for photo mats that you will cut out of the ivory cardstock that's in the cutting list, okay? So we're just going to take one big one and glue it at the top, one little one, glue it at the bottom, and then that will close with a magnet right here. And then on the other side, we're going to take the little one at the top and the big one at the bottom and do the same thing, okay? So let's glue those down real quick. And then we'll set our magnets, and then we'll be good to go. And then after you do that, then you can cover everything with pattern paper. So the only things we covered with pattern paper were stuff that we really had to. I'm going to take this page off just so I can work with it a little bit. I'm going to lay that down, make sure that it's nice and stuck. Okay. All right, and then take our little one, put our glue on here, and then just make sure you don't get in this score line. Just go right to the score line, maybe a little bit over, just a little bit, because the thread that you're going to use to bind this will be in the middle, and we want to make sure that the book turns well, okay? So we'll do that, and then we're going to set a magnet, and then this is done. Pretty neat. It comes together pretty quick, so I'm glad about that, considering I had to do this twice today. All right, so set our magnet. It'll help keep this closed. Now the other thing you could do with this book, which I thought would be kind of cool on the front of each of the booklets, you know, especially the calendar and the recipe, you could put clips, you know, like paper clips. You could, you know, make some fancy paper clips, which would be fun. Make sure I got that down a little bit too low. Excuse my hair. All right. You know, so that you could clip things to the outside and kind of junk journal it a little bit. You could do all kinds of things with this little idea. This is just pretty versatile project. And won't it look cute when you take it to the grocery store if you like clip a grocery list to the recipe file and you have it in your cart and everybody's like, where did you get that? That'd be kind of cool. All right. Okay, so yeah, so then we'll set the magnet, and then all we got to do left here is, you know, you'll just cover it with the pattern paper, and it will be good to go. Now you might, I know I put everything in the book because I wanted to show you how everything did go in the book, but I kind of found that it might be a little easier to do all the paper in before you do that, but you know, whatever works for you is good. So there you go. Okay, so we have our little flat pages, and that will just set back on top of our stack here, and that's the midsection of our book. So then we'll turn our page, and on this side we're going to go ahead and put our horizontal pockets, so those will go down here. Now these pockets measure, let me make sure I get this right, 2 3/4 by 7, and what I did was I cut them just a hair shorter than 7 because I don't want to get it into the folding space here. I don't want to get it into the score, okay? So I wanted to make sure that it was a little bit, just a teeny tiny bit shorter than that, so that it would help the pages turn. So just a wee bit shorter than 7, okay? And then again, you score at 1/2 inch on either end. And don't get glue inside the pocket because I'll glue it shut. All right. And then just put it on the edge here. And again, if you didn't want a pocket, if you'd rather have a belly band, you could totally do this as a belly band as well. Just move it up higher. And then obviously you would have to have a stop down here. If you had like chipboard pieces like this, you could put a stop down here, and then you could put tags, photos, recipe cards, whatever you wanted. That thing is going to stay there, whether it likes it or not. Okay, so you could do that too. So, you know, really the options are limitless with this. Okay, then we'll do the other pocket for the other side. So fold, burnish. Okay, we're almost done, people. This will be cool. So there, I put it right to the edge. Of course, I did it kind of backwards. I should have done it from the side there, but that's okay. It worked out just fine. There we go. Put that down. There we go. And then we'll glue this one down, and then that pocket will be done. So, like that. And then just move the stack just a little bit. I kept it on the stack just so I can make sure I keep my pages in order. Because if you tear these apart, you know, it's not going to work because we're making a booklet out of it. You know, so you want to make sure that they're in the proper order. Okay, so our booklet is done. So the front cover will be plain. You could put I'm going to put a photo mat on here, but you can do whatever you want here. This is going to be photo mat pages with some scrap borders. We've got our vertical pockets here. We have the inside is a flat page, so you can have a lot of places for pictures or journaling or whatever you decide to put in there. And then our next page, dun, 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 there it is a horizontal pocket. And then we have another page that I'm intending to use as a photo mat page. Okay, so that is that. And again, we will grab our twine and I'm going to grab our book. We're going to tie this in the middle. Okay, so it'll go like this. Make sure that your pockets are in the right direction, and they are. And then we're going to do the same thing, tie it in. And then our book is basically, I mean, the construction of it is done. I just need to cover it with pattern paper. And so I will cover both of these books, the album that I did the tutorial on earlier that didn't record, and then I will do this one too, so you can see how both of them turned out. And again, I got the papers for this in the Echo Park warehouse box that Tamara had sold. Turn this way. And it's really super cute. Here Comes Santa Claus by Echo Park. Super, super cute. And it came with everything, and I'll show you real quick. So if you ever want to get one of those warehouse boxes, if they do it again, man, you should do it. Honestly, it was amazing. Okay, tie your little bow. I think the bows look cute, kind of staggered. It kind of gives a pretty little element to the spine of the book. Just make sure that they're not tethered down to their friends there. And there you go. So here is your album. Excuse me. Here's the album. So we're done. This will be, I'm going to trim this up and it will tie in a bow. And then when you open it up, so you'll have your waterfall with your 3x4 cut apart pocket booklets. You will have, and then the nice thing about this waterfall too is that the last page isn't connected, so you can still have an opportunity here for photo mats or whatever you want to do. if you're going to give the book to somebody, you could write a dedication to that person and you know, personalize that. That would be really cool. So then you have the 3 signatures. The first one is the calendar, and it has the pockets for planning, putting your notes, receipts, whatever. This particular one, since it's Christmas themed, starts at November and goes through December. The one for the fall will have October and November. And then we have our midsection, which is a nice photo album. And you know, there's lots of opportunity for pictures there. And then you have your back page, which is your recipe album. So for all of those parties, for everything, you can store your recipes in here. You can add more pages, excuse me, do all that stuff. So this is a multi-purpose planner, recipe, and shopping planner, and then also memory book as well. So, you know, lots of really fun things in here. Another waterfall back here with another pocket for your booklets. So that's the project, and here is the one that we're actually using the design team project for. I will get the papers on this and show you the final product here in a little bit. But again, I use the seam binding here, 3 different colors, and when you tie the bow, it's just pretty and fluffy. I used twine on this one because I thought it fit with the fall theme, and I just love how that looks on the spine. It's just really pretty. Then on the inside here, again, you know, the same stuff, just October calendar here, okay? And again, the inside of the picture photo thing is the same, and then you have your recipe booklet in the back. So that's my project. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I'm sorry for all the confusion with the different papers, but there it is. That's design team project number 1 using Carta Bella's Hello Autumn. And I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. I know what I was going to show you really quick. Really quick. So when I got the Here Comes Santa Claus box, it also came with 2 chipboard phrases. It was kind of like I got everything there was to get with the package. So I got the paper collection. So it's Here Comes Santa Claus. This is what the paper pack that I got, and that's what I'm going to use on the model that I did for the tutorial. And then it came with these 2 chipboard pieces. It came with these really cute washi tapes. This one's all Santa Clauses. Can you see that? How adorable that is. And then this one's the snowflakes. Super pretty. It came with frames and tags. So that really awesome frame and tag pack that they put out. And I have this same for the Carta Bella line, so I'm going to use that in my my projects. There's a die cut stack that's really super cute. Let's see, I got brads and chipboard pieces too, which is really fun. I got the dots, and look at this. I got a die for a poinsettia. I mean, check that out. That was super cute. And then 2 embossing folders. This one has holly, and this one has the subway words for Christmas. And then I got puffy stickers. So, I mean, this package was amazing. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So it's going to be really cute for this project. All right, now I'm done. You guys have a good day, and stay tuned for the fall planner. I've got more stuff coming soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.